Hey y'all, Sherry G here. So look, the Fletchers from Love and Marriage Huntsville, they've been a hot topic. People have really enjoyed seeing them on the show. We got to experience them as a couple, and then we got to experience their family dynamics at the family dinner. And looks like we'll be seeing more of them on the show, and most people are pretty happy about that. Um, Hey, I ran across a clip though where Nell is actually calling her son, Chris Jr., an asshole. So I want to go ahead and drop that little clip and give some commentary on it because it really had me thinking, like really, really hard about what's going on, as if the family dinner didn't do that already. So, anyway, y'all, keep in mind when I do come back that my views, it's just my opinion. Everything's just alleged, could be true, might not be true. It's just an allegation. Everything is for fair use, entertainment, all that jazz. You know, I gotta cover everything because we don't want to get any channel strikes over here. So, hey, I'm gonna actually go ahead and run my disclaimer just to make sure that it's posted up with the video. Just want to make sure we cover all grounds. And then I'll drop the little clip and come back with my commentary. So hang tight.
Chris, he's as well. His thing was, when I come around, the family is almost like he feels.
Whew. Okay, y'all, I don't know what you got out of this short clip, but there was a lot. It was a short clip, but it was a lot. Everything from body language, words that were spoken, the overall demeanor. It was a lot to take away. Um, in this clip, to me, this is my opinion, Feltcher seems to be the one that's really concerned about Chris Jr.'s overall well being. And while we know that when Chris Jr. went to visit him at his office and they were talking, that Feltcher got emotional, thinking that Chris Jr. may actually be dealing with depression. But in this short clip, to me, there's a very stark difference between the Fletchers, between their viewpoints of Chris Jr. Um, and when I say the Fletchers, I'm talking, of course, about Nell and the senior Feltcher. Chris, to me, seems to be more open, and Nell appears to be very closed, harsh. And you know what? I agree with the children. In my opinion, she seems to be very judgmental. And another thing that I got out of this very short clip is that she can be condescending. She called her son an asshole. But even when we look at the body language of this couple in this clip, to me, that speaks volumes. And people have stated that, Chris, he appears to be more laid back in nature. And that's true. I think we can go ahead and establish that he's probably a lot more laid back. But in addition to that, in my opinion, it also feels like he's more compassionate and empathetic. Whereas Nell, she seems to be very closed, rigid, and defensive. Like she said, she's the mama. So, this is how things are going to be done. But, wow. Did she realize that she just talked down about her son on national TV? And in my opinion, that actually makes Nell an asshole. Just saying, y'all. I like this family though. I like that we're seeing, this exchange between Chris and Nell, because I feel like this dynamic plays out in a lot of families for real. You have one parent that deals with things a certain way and another parent that deals with things a different way. Now, some like to say that, hey, it's a lot of old school parents that act the way Nell is acting. But Chris is an old school parent too, and he doesn't act that way. As a matter of fact, in my family, when it comes to me and my husband, we deal with things a little bit differently. And I am a child of the 60s. I was born in 1960, right? So at 63 years old, yes, I grew up in a family where it's our way or the highway. You couldn't really ask questions. You couldn't really express yourself just because I said so. And that always felt to me very uncomfortable. And I always said to myself, when I have children, I'm never going to make them feel this way. I was very intentional about that. I'm not going to say I was always 100% on point, when trying to deal with my kids and communicate with them, and that emotions never took over. But I walk in more consciousness, and more awareness. And especially now that I'm older, it's like I understand that my children are adults too. And I'm the type of parent that I want to know how they feel, as long as it's respectful now. But yeah, I do want to know how they feel, and I want to know what's going on with them. And I don't ever want them to feel like they can't come to me and talk to me about anything. And Nell's that type of parent where she wants that too, but she doesn't realize how she turns them away with her body language and the verbiage that she uses, the things that she says, and the way she just goes from 0 to 100. She doesn't realize how much of a turnoff it really is. Hopefully, though, watching the show, seeing it, like if you see yourself, sometimes you're like, oh my God, is that me? Hopefully seeing it, she gets a better idea. And then, of course, listening to the comments. And I'm sure they're over here in YouTube as well, listening to what, the different bloggers and content creators have to say. But anyway, yeah, it shocked me to hear her calling her son an asshole on national TV. And here's Chris Sr. coming to her saying, hey, this is what he's dealing with, and this is the problem. Now, granted, we haven't seen this whole thing play out, right? There's definitely probably going to be more to this conversation that we'll be privy to on Saturday. So hopefully the conversation ends with Nell turning around and actually listening to the concerns of Chris Sr. as it relates to Chris Jr. But yeah. Now, I wouldn't feel comfortable coming to you either. I mean, I feel like you can be kind of extreme with your actions and everything. So anyway, like I said, y'all, I'm really enjoying seeing the Feltchers onto this show because they are giving who they really are, in my opinion. And there's so much that we can take away as individuals to learn about ourselves so that we can show up and be better. So much that we can take away so that when we're dealing with our children, when we're dealing with our grandchildren, when we're dealing with people in general, we just learn a better way of communicating. Because communication is something that's not taught, right? We're taught how to speak, but we're not taught how to be effective communicators. And so many people think that they are effective communicators. Nah, you heard me, but did you really hear me? Right? So anyway, y'all, that's all I have in this video. Hey, if you haven't done so, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. I'll be back. Until then, ciao.
How you like that?